Retrofit is a library for Android applications that facilitates interaction with RESTful APIs. It provides a simple and easy-to-use API for configuring, sending, and handling HTTP requests. One of the main advantages of Retrofit is its ability to define APIs using Java interfaces and its seamless integration with popular JSON processing libraries. This allows developers to write cleaner and more organized code for API requests and responses, and to automatically convert JSON data into Java objects. Overall, Retrofit is a reliable tool for Android app developers to interact with RESTful APIs. To give an example of what this does, I can say this. Let's say there is an e-commerce application. As you know, new products can always be added, updated, or deleted. So it is constantly renewed. You can easily get these updates in your application by accessing the database over the internet using the Retrofit API. Now let's move on to the API example we will use in this video. You can reach the site you see now by searching for Retrofit on Google. I will put the link to the site in the description. Those who cannot find it can look there. Let's take a quick look at what's available here. As you can see, this site has explanations on how to use Retrofit. Get request, initialize Retrofit, how to use an ID, how to submit a request, etc. There are explanations like this. You can research it yourself. Today, I will try to show some of them. First of all, in order to use Retrofit in the app, we need to implement Retrofit in the Gradle file. In these sections you still see the codes on how to use it. The application section should be below. Here you can see the exact initialization process. I will show you this in a moment. Yes, in the application section, we will copy the implementation and paste it into the Gradle part of the application. That's all you will see about Retrofit on the site. Before moving on to the application, I will show you the API site we will use, and I will place the link in the description. Here you see a site called Pixabay. This is the site whose API we will use. The site will first open for you from here. If you scroll down to get to the API section, you will see the API at the bottom. You can get to the API section by clicking on it and clicking on Get Started here. First, you need to log in to use the API here. You need to log in because you need the so-called API key. Your API key is the key you need to retrieve the data. You should not share the API key with anyone else. Since I have logged in before, I have an API key, so I am skipping this part. You can see the documents required to use the API on this site. There are explanations here. I recommend you read them. Here you see the link. You will see the API key. For example, we will use and work by making relevant submissions to this link. And if you remember, we have seen get several times on the Retrofit site. Here you see some references like K, Q. We will use K and Q today. K is the abbreviation of API key, and as you can see it is required. Q will be required for the search process. That is, by entering text, it will bring up images in accordance with the text you can see in other processes. You can try them optionally, and here you see the JSON output. We will bring it in while using the connection and use the join. This API is for images and videos. We will only bring images. Your video is no different from an image. You can do this spontaneously as a homework, and that's all on this site. If I can find it in the link, it will be like this. It will show where to write the API key and other entries. Now we can put it into practice. Yes, now we have come to Android Studio. Here you can see the operations we did in the previous video. If you have not watched the video, I recommend you to watch that video first. Now let's get started. First, we switch to Gradle files and make our applications. IT is available in another implementation other than the one we just copied from the site. I will give these in the description. Version 2.9.0. After making the implementations, we sync them. Then we will create a class to add the data coming from the API. There is a way to do this easily. https://pixabay.com/API/?key equals. First, you need to search on Google and write key equals your own API key. We copy the incoming JSON data. We come to Android Studio and click on the Create New Class button. We copy and paste and give it a name. And our class is ready. Then we create the interface. I will name it Retrofit API. Here we perform the get operation. We do the Q and key operations. Q is the key for the search process, and it is to indicate the API key. I have written my API key before. You can paste the key you get from Pixabay in quotes here. Now we will create an object class for the resistance process. I will write its name Search API. This is a standard process. You can always use it by copy and pasting. There is an import problem here. JSON converter does not import. We have to write it ourselves. Sometimes such problems may occur. If you have done everything correctly, such as implementation, it will import when you write it yourself. Now let's come to main activity and do our final operations. We will use the response we received. There is an import section in the callback that you need to pay attention to. Make sure you select retrofit, otherwise you will get an error. Here you write on two. One of them is successful, the other is to handle the error cases. It is possible to indicate the error situation as automatic toast or println message. I will println I in the successful part. We will print the data we received. For example, the incoming class or img URLs. We write that total hints to text view. We can get the data we entered in editText in the process we did in the last video. And that's all. Now let's run the application. Do not forget to get internet permission before running it. I have already gotten it. Since the API works with the internet, if you do not get the permission, you will get an error. When the relevant data for the images was given and it worked as you can see. If you look at the println section, you can select the relevant data according to the URLs. And we have come to the end of today's video. Have a nice day.